Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Mortification Monday, that series where I talk about the Australian Jesus metal band Mortification, led by Steve Rowe. Today, we look at an album that, if you really had to have me narrow it down, this album would probably be number, depending on the day of the week, this could rank number one or two or three as far as my favorite albums by the band completely. From this particular era, I would say this one is my favorite. And I'm talking about the album Hammer of God. Now, this one originally came out in July 27th, 1999. This vinyl pressing on Sound Mass came out in 2021 with a little bit of a touch up by Scott Waters and the No Life Till Metal crew. Um, Released here in the States by Metal Blade and throughout Europe on Nuclear Blast. So they still had that working relationship with them. So this album, this was recorded. By this point, Steve has his studio called the Hammer of God Studios. He has a fellow by the name of Mark McCormick coming in to do production, engineering, as well as adding keyboards and piano and things like that to the music. So you add a nice little extra um, piece to the band. And yeah, so this would come out, and here again, Steve is still dealing with a lot of different health issues. Um, a lot of different, a lot of stuff with, he's having trouble with his walking. He is by this point an L1 paraplegic. But he felt good enough to actually do a U.S. tour for this album, so that should say something. Like I said, I spent a lot of time on Steve's health on the last episode. Um, like I said, there's just a lot more stuff, a lot of checkups, and there wasn't a whole lot really to add to the story, other than just him just fighting to get well again, and just to keep trusting that God was going to completely heal him. And so, with that said, let's get into this now. You have a couple of different track listings for this album. The vinyl is a little different. Um, um, there's like one song omitted from the first five that I think winds up on side two, but you have mostly shorter songs, a lot of songs under 4 minutes. You do have three songs that are longer. The first one being Metal Crusade, which is basically a nice um, influence here of Iron Maiden with the bass harmonics to start off with. You have a nice driving gallop. This is about a 7 minute track. So this would have been Steve said he was listening to a lot of the Blaze era at this time. I think he had also gotten a live album. Maybe it was a bootleg or some sort, but he got something that captured his love for Steve Harris. So, um, and he exemplifies it here in this song. Now, let me also add here again. You still have Lincoln Bowen on great guitar work, Keith Bannister on drums. Um, Great song. I don't know how many guitar tracks there are on this thing, but for it just being a three piece, to me, this just seemed really thick and really heavy. So I really always liked the title or the song Metal Crusade. Basically, this is another call. You're going to get a lot of these kind of songs on this album. Basically, a call to, wage the war on the evil and raise the banner of Christ high. Um, Really is what you're going to see a lot of in this album. You have some great guitar work here from Lincoln. Um, he Steve here does allude to his health, but yet he's still going to wave the banner, and he's still as I'm going to mention in another song here, ride the light. Um, Very great, great opening track here that just calls just an epic feel. Okay, love this song. Next one is probably, gosh, I don't know if I've yet to really make a top five or top 10 Mortification tracks, but this would definitely be in up in there. This one has a co-write with Lincoln Bowen. It's called Martyrs. And this is an absolute power thrashing song with imagery of ones who gave their life to proclaim the name of Christ in this world in places that it's not safe to do that. There are so many stories about folks who have been martyred for the cause of Christ. And so many, I mean, it goes back to the very first disciples. All of them died, all of them but John died a very horrible death. Whether it was being crucified upside down. I think there were stories of being boiled in oil, beheading. There was just all kinds of just stoning, just awful stories of just how they died for the cause of Christ, but they were willing to die. To live is to die. To live is for Christ, but to die is gain. Okay, so that's the idea that these people go with in their minds, and it's a beautiful imagery to know that you would give your own life as Christ gave his life for us. Anyway, very driving song, just basically comes in here and kicks your tail and just doesn't take names. Basically, because the names of the people, even though they're not mentioned in this song, their name is in another book of life. And that is an awesome picture. But this is I love this heavy banging song. Great song. Lock Up the Night. This is another groovy, thrashy grinder. Another song encouraging the listener to stay bold against the dark forces of this world. You have a bridge and ending section here that where the organ comes in and kind of brings this almost like a Deep Purple and Uriah Heep kind of feel to it, but it's this heavy, heavy groove. Again, it's just these guys, they're just all on all cylinders here. Great track. In the Woods, this is a co-write with the drummer Keith Bannister. This is another absolute banger. Heavy groove, asserting your strength in Christ. Um, Man, you could look here at the Woods and think, the Woods, like right now, you could say I'm in the woods with things in my own life because of some mental health issues I've dealt with. And so there's a lot of things that I have to cling to Christ in order to make it through the exit of the woods. You almost another way of another picture you could look at it is in Lord of the Rings, when Merry and Pippin are in the woods of help me out in the comments. I can't remember the name of the woods off the top of my head, but they meet Treebeard and they go through, the wood, and that's kind of a very dank place to be when you see these woods. But but there's light at the end. Um, the next song is a Pearl, and this is a beautiful, slower, kind of a heavier track. Nice soft bridge here with a nice piano and harp feel. Kind of gives you almost like a feeling of being in heaven, kind of feeling here. This kind of draws on a verse in Matthew chapter 13, 45 and 36, where it's like a parable Jesus would talk about where there was a person who basically sold all of his goods just because he wanted this one little pearl. And really, Steve wrote this as a song for his wife, Kate, who when you read when you and I really should have had this book. When you read, if you're able to find this book, and you can find this like I think on iBooks if you can't get a hard copy of it. um, the way Steve talks about Kate, his wife, in this book is just it was a beautiful picture. She really was Steve's pearl in life, and still is in life. Please don't ever let me talk about Steve in the past tense. But anyway, um, here again, when you're facing these harsh trials like Steve did with his leukemia and his cancer, you have to cling to Christ because that is the ultimate pearl of all. Hammer of God, the title track. This is a nice, quick, in your face thrashing thrasher here. another just call to arms and fighting evil. This would be a popular song amongst the catalog going forward in the set lists. Liberal Mediocrity. This is a song written by Lincoln Bowen, the guitar player. This is a solo write. This is a really good riff banger, and this one, I apologize in advance, folks. If you lean more towards the liberal side of things, well, this song's probably not going to be for you. Um, this really talks about the dangers of more of the liberal side of reading the Bible, and almost it's almost like not to try to poke fun at the liberals exactly, but it's like it's you're trying to make it work for an agenda. And when man puts his own agenda into the Bible, that's a very slippery slope to be going down. Talks a lot about this song. Really, just talks about the evil of politically correctness. Um, it's a strong song. It's a very good song. Again, just another great thrashing song. Extreme Conditions, another power groovy kind of song. Again, facing those hardships with this unwavering faith. Another great track talking about that. Ride the Light, another kind of a mid-tempo heavy rocker. Um, Nice bridge twist here with the organ. Again, just talking about the unwavering faith. Last song on the album is called DWAM. Daniel was a mosher. This is about the biblical character and writer Daniel. We first meet Daniel at first with as he's brought into like Nebuchadnezzar and that kingdom, and he like kind of the like a person in Nebuchadnezzar's like court, but yet he stays true to God, where Nebuchadnezzar is and the king is trying to say, hey, look at me, I'm the king, I'm the one you should be looking to. And of course, you have the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, going into the fiery furnace, and they were not touched by the flames. Um, Daniel would be thrown into the lion's den. We all know that story from the Bible, and how the lion's den didn't touch him. But Daniel sat down there and he just moshed out with the best of them. So another great banger that closes out the album. Now, the original CD that was on Metal Blade. This is my Metal Blade version, and you also have a. I also have the CD reissue that was on Sound Mass, in connection with Row Productions. This original version featured a few bonus tracks. It had a medley. It had a medley that they would wind up doing live. This would be to help out the older fans of the band that maybe they weren't getting enough older stuff. So Steve really put together a really cool version here of of uh, old songs like Lymphosarcoma, Your Life, um, Distarnished Priest, and Love Song. Great, great medley here. Um, Again, just an absolute, uh, excuse me, Lymphosarcoma, Destroyer Behold, Discharged Priest, and Love Song. Those are the four songs. I always get that mixed up. My bad. Anyway, you get this really strong medley here. You get a Lincoln version here of God Rules with Stephen Cates' son, Leighton, screaming God Rules at the end of the song. And then there's a few demo versions here. This is from the Triumph of Mercy album. You have a demo version of it, War with War, Visited by an Angel, Unified Truth, and an instrumental version of Metal Crusade. So that's what you get on the original Metal Blade version. Now, this reissue on Soundmass, you get the medley, you get God Rules, you get the instrumental version of Metal Crusade, and then you have a live version from 2001 of Hammer of God and Martyrs, and then you have three tracks from 1999, Lock Up the Night, Extreme Conditions, and Liberal Mediocrity. So you get some nice bonus tracks on this one. You get a second disc, and this is going to be an album that I'll actually talk more about next week. and that's going to be this album here called 10 Years Not Li 10 Years Live Not Dead. So that's the bonus track that's on this. But like I said, I'm going to talk more about that then. Um, I mentioned you have a little bit of a slight altering of the track listing here. You get a Pearl as the side closer, and In the Woods, which is usually the fourth track, that would kick off side B. Again, probably you have all the longer songs on side one on the vinyl, and I'll tell you, this really sounds good. Here's the rest of the band here. You got Steve right here. All right, you got Steve right there. There's Keith Bannister on drums and Lincoln Bone on guitar. Um, again, this was this one was this I definitely was had bought in real time. I think Triumph of Mercy, I was a little bit behind on it, but when this came out, I was able to get it, and I just listened to this incessantly. This really was a favorite album of mine by the band. So yeah, I would highly rank this one. So there you go, folks. Like, share, subscribe. You know all the lingo. I hope for those who are watching this series, I hope you're enjoying it. Just gets me getting to talk about the band's music and share a little bit in the ministry of the band, and hopefully also give you a side of me. I don't always get to, this series I've really kind of gone out of my way to talk more about faith and just fighting evil in this world. And so I know that may not line up with a lot of people out there, but it's who I am at my core. So, let's, I just hope you can listen to these albums and maybe it might turn you on to something. You never know. So there you go. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad. See you next week for 10 years live, not dead. Rock forever, y'all. We'll see you soon. Take care.